Over the years, I've asked a lot of RVers one simple question. What is the dumbest RV mistake you've ever made or seen anybody else make? And honestly, some of the answers surprised me. Not because people were careless. Most of them weren't. They were tired. They were distracted. They were trying to get packed up. They were listening to bad advice. And one little mistake turned into an expensive problem. So in this video, I want to walk through some of the biggest RV mistakes I've ever heard about, and more importantly, how you could avoid making them yourself. Because if you're new to RVing, especially if you're over 55 and trying to protect your savings, these are the little things nobody really explains before your first big trip. And there's one mistake near the end that causes a lot of arguments in the RV community because it involves propane, driving, and fire risk. One of the most common mistakes I've heard is someone driving away with the awning still out. Now, if you've ever done that, you might think, how in the world does someone miss that? But it happens. You're packing up, it's raining, someone is talking to you, and you're thinking about the next campground. You pull forward, and then you hear that awful scraping sound as the awning hits a tree, pole, or something in the campground. Hits a tree, pole, or something in the campground. And that can get expensive fast. Depending on the awning, replacing bent arms, torn fabric, a motor, or damaged mounting hardware can run into thousands once labor is included. That's why the walk around matters so much. And it's not about being paranoid. It's about slowing down long enough to catch the simple stuff before it becomes expensive. And the awning is not even the worst thing people forget. Some RVers are driven away with their slide outs still extended. That can cause serious damage because slides are not designed to travel down the road, sticking out from the side of the RV. If you turn through a tight campground road, pull near fuel dumps, or get close to another object, that slide can hit something and turn your morning into a repair nightmare. Now, here's one thing that sounds less dramatic, but it can turn into a real mess. Leaving the black tank valve open during your whole stay. If you're new, here's why that matters. The liquid drains out, but the solids can stay behind. Over time, that buildup can turn into what RVers call a poo pyramid. That name sounds funny, but that problem is not funny when your tank starts smelling, clogging, or reading wrong on the sensors. And then there's been the sewer hose mistake. Someone disconnects too early. The tank is not done draining, and now black water is on the ground. That is embarrassing and it smells terrible. And can also create problems for everyone else because campgrounds remember things like that. A simple, clear sewer elbow helps because it can actually see when the flow is stopped. If you've ever heard strange black tank advice from another camper, drop it in the comments. Some of the RV hacks people repeat are actually terrible advice. Now let's talk about one that really bothers me. Bypassing safety systems. Some people get tired of a GFCI outlet tripping, so they replace it with a regular outlet instead of figuring out why it was tripping. Now, that's not fixing the problem. That outlet is trying to tell you something is wrong. In an RV where moisture and tight spacers are common, ignoring that warning can create a shock risk or fire risk. Another big mistake is towing with the wrong vehicle. A lot of people look at dry weight and think they're fine, but they add water, batteries, tools, generator, food, clothes, and everything else they travel with. That weight adds up fast. And once you're overloaded, the issue is not just whether your truck can pull it. The real question is whether the truck can stop it and control it. That matters on downhill grades, sudden stops, and lane changes when the trailer starts pushing the truck around. I've heard stories of people seeing smoke coming from the wheel while the trailer was still moving. That's usually not something that happens out of nowhere. Grinding noise, heat, vibration, pulling to one side, or odd smells are all signs you need to stop and check things before they turn into a much bigger problem. A small vibration or a strange smell might not seem urgent when you're trying to enjoy a trip, but ignoring it can turn a simple maintenance issue into an expensive repair. Wind is another one that gets people. Awnings are mainly for shade and light weather. They're not meant to sit out in strong wind. If you spend time in Nevada, Arizona, or West Texas, you know how fast a calm afternoon can turn into gusty wind. And if your awning is out when that happens, it can bend or tear before you have time to react. Now let's talk about that one that RVers argue about all the time, driving with propane on. Some RVers do it and say they've never had a problem. Other RVers shut it off every time they move. And here's my take. If your propane system develops a leak while the appliance is running, you know you have a possible ignition source inside a moving RV. That does not mean every person who drives with propane is going to have a fire, but it does mean the risk is higher if something goes wrong. Some tunnels, ferries, and fuel stations also have propane restrictions. The Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, for example, requires propane cylinders to be turned off while traveling through the facility. I'm generally curious how you handle this. Do you drive with propane on or off? Let me know in the comments, because RVers debate this one constantly. Most RV problems don't start as huge disasters. They usually start as something small that got ignored. A rushed walk around, a weird noise, a tripped outlet, a tank valve left open, a windy afternoon with the awning still out. Those are things that could turn into repair bills you did not plan for. Anyway, please take a moment to like and subscribe. It helps me keep sharing these lessons with our community. RV life is absolutely worth it, but it works a lot better when you slow down and build good habits. Most mistakes in this video are preventable. You just have to know what to watch for before they happen to you. Anyway, for more of my other videos about RVing, boondocking, RV life, etc., just click one of the videos on my playlist over here. And remember, at the end of the day, it's not about having the fanciest rig. It's about protecting your freedom, your savings, and your ability to keep traveling safely. So before you pull out of your next campfire, slow down, do a walk around, and check the things that are easy to forget. See you down the road.